folks on the right-hand side. Now, in behind these seals, there's actually a bald eagle up there on the really light-colored rocks. Those would be the visible part of the ledge on the high tide. Right at the top of that, see that all brown-bodied bird there? But it's a big bird. That's a juvenile bald eagle. Bald eagles do not have a white head or tail feathers during their first few years of life. They don't get the white head or tail until they're about 4 or 5 years old, when they're old enough to breed. So that is actually a juvenile eagle there. You can see there are some white feathers kind of all over its body, on the tops of the wings and on its back. But that's what that bird is. It's a big-bodied bird, 72-inch wingspan, juvenile bald eagle. Some of these seals that are here, too, are a little bit larger. These really big ones. Those are gray seals, too. There's not just harbor seals here. This is pretty cool. Gray seals are usually found out on offshore ledges and islands, but there have been a few of them hanging around in close here lately. The gray seal is also a hair seal, just like the harbor seal, but they get much larger. They'll get up to 500 pounds. So that's the biggest seals that you see there. Those are gray seals. And if you got to zoom on your camera and you can look right at its face really clearly, you'll see the nose is a lot longer. And the gray seal's nickname is the horsehead seal, because it has a bigger skull with a more elongated nose than a harbor seal. The harbor seal nickname is the sea dog, because they look so dog-like. They're both pinnipeds. That's their biological order. They're pinnipeds. Pinnipeds would be all of your other hair seals, as well as your fur seals, sea lions, and walrus. Pinniped is the Latin word for feather foot. And of course they have those little paddle-like webbed feet, the pectoral flippers, so you can see how they would have arrived at that classification. The harbor seals and the gray seals do have relatively small flippers on their upper torso for the size of their bodies. They're not like a sea lion like you would see on the west coast. The sea lions have those big pectoral flippers, and they can walk around quite easily on solid ground, on beaches and people's docks and on dry land. Now these seals, of course, they get up here on the rocks like this, but they undulate their bodies. That's how they position themselves, and that is called galumphing. And it's a really awkward motion, so if you see them moving around, you can kind of see the word fits the action there. It's really no better word to describe it. Galumphing. Here goes one. These are really good seals too. This is the most I've seen on the rocks in quite a long time. Again, just going into that idea of them feeding for winter and fattening up, putting that blubber layer on. They really spend a lot of time in the water feeding here in the fall, so we don't always get this. Even at low tide, sometimes we don't get a lot of seals on the rocks. It's only just a couple, so this is quite a few. This has to be almost every seal that's feeding around this group of ledges here. So that's pretty cool. And then looking around the boat here, it's a beautiful clear day, even though it's windy. A little breezy today. It's just nice and crystal clear. You can see for miles in all directions. These are all the outer islands of the region around us here. And you can, in fact, look all the way off to Monhegan Island. So directly behind the rocks that next to us here, where the seals are, there's these two smaller islands. They look similar. They have a lot of grass. One of them has some trees on it. Those are called the White Islands. And then beyond the White Islands there's one island that's way